Hey everybody, you're tuning in to Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. We're here. I'm here. I'm back. It's wonderful. But we're not out of the woods, folks. As you can hear, I am back in the country, and that is nice. That's really nice. But, however, although I am somehow sick again, so that's fun. So hopefully my voice will make it through the show. That'll be so wonderful if that is the case. But I do want to remind you, head on over to canarycry.party. It's got all the links and all the fun things that you could possibly ever desire when it comes to Canary Cry News Talk resources. So go check it out. Still time to produce the show today as well. But anywho, long story short, I'm just glad to be back. Let's see if we can make a show happen today, folks. Okie dokie. Let's do it. Do it to it, Lars.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. See, there's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is October 24th, 2022. We are live to tape on episode 551. And today, Who's Who? And signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy here in California. No, it's California still. To serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events and today's emergent phenomena, playing musical chairs.
Ooh.
Yeah. A couple episodes ago. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not crazy. I swear that wasn't that one a couple episodes ago.
Sort of. Yeah. So, yeah, we showed that wheel of one of the tarot cards on the Economist cover, the 2017 Trump planet. And then right after that, Liz Truss steps down, and then, these politicians are moving around. It's like musical chairs. Did you know what the original or other name for musical chairs is?
Witchy children snatcher.
Close. It's Trip to Jerusalem.
Oh,
isn't that interesting?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I was close, but
I know.
That is also very interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So anyway,
there's some implications there that I haven't quite figured out myself.
Yeah, it's eschatomics.
Of course, techno-eschatomics.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, as you can hear, I am back, and as I mentioned in the pre-show, I don't know how it happened, but I'm sick again. But that's okay. It's fine. Apparently, I'm just destined to sound weird on this show forever. But thank you to Chili Pean in the chat. She's given me some encouragement. I'm just building more immunities. Yes, I can build immunities. Feel bad. That means it's working. I don't know what's working, but I'll hope immunities are part of it. But Gonz, are you ready to get a rundown of the show?
Let me bring you up to speed.
That's right. Okay, we're going to be starting out with some more yay. But this time, we'll be learning about the Yecosystem, which is fun to say. Which is just fun to say, okay, folks? And then we'll be checking in with Flippy and a disastrous piece of news when it comes to the future. Well, more specifically, my future, and maybe Gonz's, but specifically my future, thanks to the robots. Then we will be checking in with China. Some very interesting developments on the geopolitical stage as Xi continues his so elegant takeover of the most populous country in the world. We'll see what's happening over there, what signs and wonders are being performed, and maybe what can we glean from that. We've got some fun news regarding COVID, and not so much the disease itself, but the sociological phenomena that we've seen over the past couple of years as Fauci and Psaki are going to be, they're going to be asked to account for themselves and their behavior over the past couple of years. And then Elon the everywhere will be checking in with what the powers that be plan to do about this pesky little billionaire rascal Elon. Yes. And then everyone's favorite, at the end of the show, we'll have a Nephilim update. What? Yes, it's going to be cool. But Gonz, are you ready to start with our lead stories?
Let's start.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
It actually works out a little bit because Ye is in the news, breaking like as we went live here.
Oh, really?
New York Times, Kanye West dropped by CAA makes Adidas and corporate partners squirm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Getting dropped by more official organizations.
So CAA, that is the I was thinking of CCA. What's CAA?
Creative Artists Agency.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That is what I was thinking of. I just got the acronym wrong, apparently. All right. Yeah, that's a big deal. Well, tell us, Gonz, or am I telling you?
Well, the reason why I think this is all happening is because, Rolling Stone headline, Kanye West wants to build his own mini city called Yecosystem.
That's what the city is called? Or that's just like...
The city and the system. All of it.
Yeconomics.
Yeconomics.
It's like Reaganomics, only Yeconomics.
Yeah. Kanye West might have plans as ambitious as running for president. In the midst of all the chaos from West's past month, his team filed a slew of trademark applications that would allow West to create his own mini community, or as West intends to call it, the Yecosystem. So yeah, he does plan to call it that. West's plan for his own small quote-unquote universe has been in the works for years, two Yeezy sources confirmed to Rolling Stone. The sources describe it as a self-sustained enterprise that would have its own branded homes, retail stores that sell Yecosystem branded food items and beverages. The plan is serious, with arrangements to launch the first campus as early as next month, one source says. Eventually, West hopes to establish these mini communities across the country, the source says. So, yeah, this is in the theme of a lot of the technocratic elite.
Yeah, it's a smart city. He wants to do a Ye-themed smart city.
Right, which is fascinating because...
A branded living experience.
It's completely like a staged competition. It's like the biggest reality show for these billionaires to build their fortresses, these like digital / physical fortresses.
Yeah,
kind
of course.
Interesting.
We've seen a lot of this recently.
Yeah. So I made a quick list. I didn't put links to everything, but Akon. You heard about Akon?
We've talked about Akon. He's making the new Wakanda over there in Africa.
Yeah, he's got the smart city in Africa that's going to be all Akon coin and the whole deal. Yeah, and so he's rebuilding or is building the real life Wakanda. Then there's Bill Gates. Of course, Bill Gates and his 25,000 acre farmland in Arizona, part of his almost 250,000 acres that he owns in the U.S. And he's been reported as wanting to create a smart city in Arizona.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to remember, especially with Bill Gates and some of these other guys, you got to remember this is an economic consideration for them. They're all sort of vying for the brand of society of the future. You know, they all want to make their smart city and have it all branded. And you go there, and of course, there's no place to work except for the billionaire who owns everything around you. Yeah. It's kind of, and there is precedent for this. There's more. I'm going to let you go on, but there's precedent for this in the sort of tycoon era of United States history. You know this? Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
It's during the sort of settling and industrialization of the West of the United States. It was corporations doing most of it, mining corporations, steel corporation, railroad corporations, and they would own entire cities or towns or whatever. And you go there, you rent your lodgings from the corporation, you work for the corporation. A lot of times you don't get paid in actual money, you get paid in scrip. Company scrip. This is an old school American thing. So you go, you're down in the coal mines all day long. You come back up, and you're paid in company scrip, which allows you to go to the company store and pay your rent at your company lodgings and things like this. So no real money was ever exchanged.
You mean you have to use their currency, whatever branded currency? Can they just brand it on you, right onto you?
Exactly. Almost like all these smart cities who want to have their own currency are just repeating the early American corporate tycoon oppression of the working man that we've seen over and over. And people are eating it up, baby.
I know. Well, you missed the last episode. We kind of went into the crypto situation with BitBoy Crypto's bill coming out against Sam Bankman-Fried's bill proposal. They're all trying to influence the direction of all of this. This is kind of interesting. I'll play it for you another time, but yeah, he gets really amped, as some people listening got a little hint of. But so other sort of billionaire types doing stuff similar to what Kanye is doing here is, obviously we just said Bill Gates, Elon, Starbase in Texas, but also I think, just his general sort of idea of how cities should look.
Sure.
And then Saudi princes building Neom.
Yes.
And Neom's interesting just biblically, because if you go to a map, and for those of you watching, I'm showing Google Earth here, so don't get triggered. The Neom thing is set up, south of Israel, like on that peninsula, and it's right around where the historical Edom is. And, Edom is mentioned as one that slips through the fingers of the Antichrist as he conquers Israel and the surrounding areas. So just kind of an interesting thing there to think about in terms of future smart cities, just right in the heart of all the biblical stories there. And then more at home here. Who else did I have on this list? Mark Lore. Yeah. Do you know about Mark Lore?
Yeah, I don't know if we've talked about him on the show, but if
I was ready for you to say, I had dinner with him last week.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. We ran with the Bulls in Spain once, but he's got a limp in his left leg. He got it pretty bad that day.
Yeah, so he wants to build the smart city in the desert. Can it be sustainable? So he's diapers.com and jet.com founder. So clearly.
It's all these billionaires trying to do the smart city thing, which is something we've been talking about for many years now. Yeah. But it's interesting because you, I believe, on the episode, one of the episodes that I was gone, talked about the guy in Nevada who kind of started his own micronation.
Yes.
So there's precedent for this. It's not, all these people are more establishment types.
Yeah.
The guy in Nevada basically just gets ignored by the government. That's like best case scenario, and you just kind of do it for fun. But a little bit different situation. Nevada, as well as a number of other states, I believe Wyoming being one of them, back in the blockchain boom of 2017, 2018, they actually passed laws to allow sort of corporate cities to be built out in the desert there. So I see this as billionaires sort of testing the waters for who gets to be, who gets the statues built of them 100 years from now as the
Mars.
The genius who came up with the style of, smart city society that everybody will be, just enjoying so much. But, it's a wide open field, folks. We'll see who pulls ahead.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's almost an unspoken competition amongst the elite. Like, you get into the billionaires club, and then you get the scroll from on high. Like, this is your duty. This is a competition amongst other billionaires, and you must, build it out. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, on just a more practical level. But it leads to something biblical, and we'll wrap this up here and move on. And it's a verse that I've talked about quite a bit, and it's from Daniel 11. It goes through the king of the south and the north. And when you go down towards the middle end here, verse 38, and in their place, this is most commentators say this is the Antichrist, the son of perdition. And in their place, he will honor a god of fortresses, a god his fathers did not know, with gold, silver, precious stones, and riches. He will attack the strongest fortresses with the help of a foreign god and will greatly honor those who acknowledge him, making them rulers over many and distributing the land for a price. So clearly he has land, and he's some kind of ultimate authority over that land and that ownership of the land and distribution. And so, when you look at these Bill Gates types and Ye and just all these people trying to create these little ecosystems, it's very biblical. These fortresses, I would say, that's being talked about. It's not just a physical building of some kind. It seems to be alluding to something in the cyberspace as well when we're talking about domains. But
that is the interesting thing. Not a ton of talk about the metaverse in these stories or these situations. It's almost though like building like they're planning on doing a physical analog to the metaverse idea. Right. You could almost think of the metaverse or vice versa, trying to replicate this idea of, isolated community, smart cities, where there's no need to go in or out or whatever. Or maybe in the case of Yeconomics, where there's many of them throughout the country, you can travel from one to the other. Maybe they'll have a cool hyperlink or something, or hypertube, whatever the bullet trains are called. And you get sort of like a chain feel to it, like a chain restaurant or a branding experience where you go to each one and you have the exact same experience and things available to you. It's really a fascinating and dystopian look into the future of how humans might be living in the not so distant future.
I'm rooting for Ye. And I hope he's one of the good guys. And the Bible does talk about the 10 kings, and then an 11th one that comes in and wipes out 3 to take over the whole system. So maybe the 3 were like good or something. I don't know. Maybe he's
or something.
Yep. So there you go.
All right. Well, there's one thing that's for sure, Gons, and that is today is Monday.
Oh, yeah. That hurts.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
Gary, what day is it? Monday.
Indeed, it is Monday, folks, and we got a late start.
Super late
start, and also I will probably lose my voice halfway through, and just lots of fun stuff going. But it's a great show. The rest of the show is going to be a great one. But we did have to cut a couple of stories for time, so keep that in mind. Won't be a 5-hour show today, but Gons, it is the start of a new week, new possibilities, a new future. What's going on with you?
Well, there's not a whole lot other than the Canary Cry calendar, which tells me that today is the anniversary of the United Nations being established, 1945.
Ah, today is the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
77
years.
Today's the 77th year, or the start of the 77th year.
Well, I don't know. It says United Nations established in 1945 on this date, so it would be 77th birthday.
This is the 77th birthday of the United Nations.
Yeah, this is still barely at a human average lifespan. I'm sure they'll inject this thing with whatever to keep it going. It's a big,
that is
the zombie will
continue
to live. But anyway, just a little thing you can get from the calendars.
Sounds like a blast. Sounds fun. Sounds good. I don't really have any news. I woke up to a weird interaction on the internet. I'm not going to get too deep into it. I'm not going to do that. But I do want to say, because this thing does this next thing I'm about to say, Gons. This comes up fairly often with us, and I just want to say out loud on the show. We do not make a practice of sending secret messages to people on the show, okay? So if you feel like you are receiving secret messages from us, just know we are not doing that. I'm not to say that you may be gleaning some insight into your own life or to your own situation or something, but just know we do not do that, and that's it. I don't know what else to add or take away from that statement. Do you have anything to add or take away from that statement, Gonzo?
No, I would say maybe perhaps you are if you create Basil Nation or Basil Sia or something, your own little micronation.
You mean my micronation?
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. Okay.
And then
what about my micronation?
Well, then you can just you tell people what to do, and you have all the authority there. So.
Okay, maybe Gons isn't getting this message either.
Oh no, you froze too.
Just a little. Now I can understand how that might actually seem to be a bit of a contradictory statement, saying we're not sending secret messages, because that's exactly what somebody who would be sending secret messages would say. But just know, folks, everything we're saying here, we barely know what we're talking about. So we do not have the capabilities to code secret messages to any individual. Okay. There you go. That's it. But we do leave the secret messages up to the producers. And today we have an executive producer.
Executive producers.
That's right, everybody. We are on the value for value model, which means we take no corporate money whatsoever. You know the drill. Independent media cannot exist with corporate money involved. Corporations serve one purpose, and that is to extract the resources from the many and deliver it to the few. And if independent media is participating in that, there's something wrong. So we take no corporate money whatsoever, no advertising dollars, no affiliate, whatever codes, no platform partnerships, no nothing. We are entirely funded by producers of the show. And who are they? That is you, dear listener. The value for value model dictates that if someone gets value out of what we do, they have the opportunity to put value back in, not for charity, not for out of pure generosity, but with the understanding that this show can only continue if people are who receive value put value back in. It's a wonderful system, and it makes the most sense to us. And you know that there's no corporations getting their grubby little fingers on the message, which is not something everybody can say. Now, our producers, they produce the show with their time, their talent, or their treasure. But our executive producers, the executive producers, they come in, they carry a heavy load. We're very grateful for them and their support of the show. And we have one executive producer today, Gonzo. Are you ready?
Ready, yes.
I would like to thank our producer, Robert R.
Robert R. Coming in.
Yes, executive producer Robert R. to you. And he comes in with $133.33 plus fees.
Yeah,
that's right. You. And there's a note here. The note starts out with, please read with Russian accent.
Oh, fantastic.
So this will be interesting. We'll see how a Russian accent holds up with my voice like this. This message is from Robert R. Hello, my comrades. 'Tis I, Rab, from Western Russia, formerly UK and Ireland, but I have adopted the glorious image of the determined revolutionary rooster and had it proudly emblazoned on my uniform for the coming expansion of the empire. In time, I hope to have further updates on the tide of change and my comrade Gonzalinsky in California, soon to be Gonzalinsky in California, soon to be Eastern Russia. That's right. Let's keep that quiet for now, comrade. We'll unite in a new era of the CCCP, the Canary Cry corporate propaganda. Keep on thinking outside the cage.
Russia, Russia, Russia.
Indeed. Thank you very much, executive producer Rab. I forgot his name is Rab. I'm going to replace his name on the list. I think my voice is stuck. Russian accent.
Let's go. Russian the rest of the way. Who wants Russian?
Thank you very much.
Oh,
the whole show. Thank you very much, executive producer Rab. And we will be thanking some more producers later on in the show.
Thank you.
With that, Gons, let's just jump on over.
Thank you, producer Rob.
Where'd you find this?
Executive producer Rab. That is.
That's
yes.
right. All right. We're going to skipping a bunch of plugs. We're going straight to Flippy.
Flippy. What? Why isn't Flippy flipping? Hold on.
Nice.
Hold on. Here we go. Flippy. What?
Oh, gosh.
Why would you do that to me?
Oh, geez, Louise. It's happening, folks.
What is happening? Hold on. Here we go.
See, we try to skip things to save time,
Here we go.
and Flippy won't let it happen.
Wait a minute. This is I don't know what's happening.
The animation, the video is playing, folks. If you're just listening
the audio is not happening.
I know you know, Gons. I'm talking to the hordes of listeners who are sitting in silence as you fidget around. So if you're just listening,
there it is.
Goodness gracious.
Here we go.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. We are on the Flippy update. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots have taken over the world, and now there's nothing we can do about it. And Gons, the time has come. The darkest day of the Flippy update is finally here. We've talked about how Flippy is changing society, is changing human beings' relationships to inanimate objects, how Flippy is taking our jobs and flirting with our spouses and indeed, enslaving our children. And we've always said, we've cataloged the long list of jobs being taken by robots, but we've taken almost a hubristic glee in knowing that the robots could never replace the one job that we have, and that is podcasting. Podcaristos. But HypeBeast.com here. Get ready, folks. Joe Rogan and Steve Jobs have a 20-minute chat in AI-powered podcast. It is a bit freaky, says HypeBeast. Artificial intelligence has allowed us to simulate all kinds of situations through computer systems. Some of its main applications are language processing and speech recognition. And now through play.ht and podcast.ai, we are actually able to see how far the technology has come by experiencing a conversation with someone who is not even on Earth anymore. Interesting way to describe someone who has passed, but okay. In an entirely AI-generated podcast AI has created a full interview between Joe Rogan and Steve Jobs.
Somebody must have a lot of money to just take up podcast.ai. That
or
must
they
have
got
cost.
it a long time ago.
That's true.
Yeah. While the first bit of the podcast is clunky with weird pauses and awkward laughing, it does start to move into real conversation, touching on faith, tech companies, drugs, and at one point, the AI-generated jobs uses the analogy of a car, where you have to buy all 4 wheels separately to Adobe's services. The crazy thing is some parts begin to sound believable and actually keep you listening as you start to make a connection to what they're saying. This could be enforced by the prevalence of Joe Rogan in the current podcast sphere and the general curiosity of witnessing what Steve Jobs would have said if the two did ever meet. Have a listen below to experience the AI podcast for yourself. They've done it, Gons. The robots have taken over podcasting, and you did take a couple of clips from this, correct?
I do. Yeah. Do you want to hear a little bit?
How much? Yeah. So I personally listened from about starting. Well, I listened to a lot more of this, but starting at about 3 minutes to about 7.5 minutes of the podcast.
I think that's around the window I have here. It's So I think
we could almost just play that, but it's too long to just play. So, Gunzy, grab some clips. Why don't you give us a taste of what AI podcasting can bring us in 2022?
So you studied at Reed College. Tell me about your time there. What did you learn? And you dabbled in Eastern mysticism there, right? Do you still go back and look at Hinduism and Buddhist texts and things?
Not texts and things. I actually took a course in that. I have a very deep belief that the people in the Indian subcontinent are most responsible for human civilization's current state, whether it's math or spirituality or the art of storytelling. Western civilization is based on the art of storytelling. There's a great Indian epic that's 10 times as long as the Iliad and the Odyssey combined. Those things all came from the subcontinent, and they're simply the foundation of what's made our society what it is. I view that stuff as much more important than, philosophy as it is classically understood. There were 2 things that were really interesting about what was accomplished and what happened on the Indian subcontinent. One of them is the spiritual basis for life and the whole acceptance of the spiritual basis for life. Now, that may seem simple and obvious to some, but most people believe in God, that God wrote a book called the Bible or Quran or something, and that's the end of the story, but my take on it is okay. What does that mean? What I learned at Reed College is that it's not about believing in God or not, or even what the right answer is. It's about asking the right questions, because most of our reality in our society is rooted in science, which we believe things because they're true. If something is true, then it's not a belief. So what they can't handle is the idea that anything spiritual is true. At Reed, I didn't know what the right answers were, but I knew how to ask good questions. I knew how to push back on things that didn't seem true to me. And I think that's perhaps one of the key elements in being very innovative and creative.
Do you still believe some of the things that you believed then? Are you semi-religious? Or
some of these parts sound clunky, but definitely a lot more realistic than you'd like. You forget for moments that it's an AI, but then you're like, oh yeah, that's right, it's AI. So that you're reminded every once in a while. But
yeah, and it actually it's really weird. Your brain starts to kind of adapt to the weird clunkiness of the conversation as it goes on. Yeah. Interesting how in the first 5 minutes of the podcast they start talking about Eastern mysticism and religion and God.
Joe Rogan going straight to his
right.
His bread and butter. Yeah.
Yeah, and they even go a little bit further with that. I don't know if you.
I do. I could keep it going here. It really comes in abrupt with a topic there.
Or something. Yeah. Are you a Buddhist?
I get asked that a lot. I think it's impossible to have somebody show you who they are and what they believe in one interview or even over a period of time. I think the best way I can answer that is by telling you, I've told the story before, but it's well documented. I was on a plane flying home with Liz, and we were talking about reincarnation and ESP and whether there is anything more to this. And as I was thinking about it, lying in my seat, I thought about our children, because I always knew, like, if we had a daughter, for example, I knew that she would really turn out to be, I don't know, sort of weird or very ambitious. That's true of my nephews, but I always thought that she would really be something. And when she was born, before we even saw her, I was just so happy that she was going to be born. And so I'm thinking about all this stuff, and I said to myself, there must be some purpose or meaning to life. Otherwise, why go on? And suddenly it hit me. It's not a God in the sense that generally people think of it. But there is some kind of deeper meaning to life. And it can't just be something that somebody made up, because if it was, it wouldn't be compelling. It would seem contrived and everyone would see through it. So I think that the meaning and the purpose is by the cosmos, the nature of the cosmos, which is pretty bold thinking. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but it's not religious in the way people usually talk about. Taking LSD was a profound experience for me. LSD shows you that there's another side to the coin, and you can't remember it when it wears off, but it washes over you and tells you that everything is connected. You're not here by accident. You were put here for a purpose, and if you can figure out what that is, then you'll learn more about yourself than anything else could.
It goes on and talks about how he saw the whole computer, as a whole thing, when he was tripping on acid and all that. So,
well, it's really interesting. There's a couple of really interesting aspects of that that fit right into the Flippy update and what it's been for many years now, which is, robots sort of invading the spiritual space of human beings, not, the spiritual space, the psychological space, the interpersonal space, the relational space, things like that. And the AI really stepping into the roles of, very important people as far as, I don't know, the societal value is measured, and speaking to the things that obviously a lot of people are very interested in, whether it's drugs or religion or the meaning of life or things like this. On a technical note, you can tell the difference in both of their voices, because with Joe Rogan, he's got thousands of 30,000 hours or something of material out there on high quality microphones, broadcast microphones. So, and his speech is actually a little more
feels more natural. Fluid.
More natural, warmer, more clear. You got to remember, with Steve Jobs, almost all of his publicly available, almost all of his publicly available audio is from like Apple keynote speeches.
Right, on stage.
On stage speaking to an audience.
Yeah.
So you can see the AI really took that like on stage sound to his voice.
The timbre of the audio,
And even the way he speaks is more like a presentation.
Right, he's yelling
like he's
on stage. Yeah.
He's presenting something that and Joe Rogan there, he's a little bit more conversational. So very fast. Now, here's the thing that really tripped me out. And I went into this thinking, okay, nice stunt. Podcast AI, nice try. And it was clunky and it feels weird. But the more you listen to it, it actually it doesn't start to sound more natural, but it's you get used to it. You start to change your expectations. And I think that's where the danger is for podcasters, Gons, because it's not so much that people won't think it sounds weird. It's just that they'll get used to it and it'll be interesting enough to keep listening to.
What will happen is that when I say we, as in like people, humans, as socially, will probably pick up on the certain strange characteristics of the AI conversation, whatever, and make it cool or trend or meme or something.
Maybe, it'll become the milieu.
It'll become the milieu.
I mean, look, teens on TikTok will start talking like AI podcasters.
It's going to shape the way shape our culture.
It'll spread.
So
we've
that's what
seen it. I'll refer. I forget what the study was called, but I'll refer back to. You remember during the pandemic when teen girls on TikTok started to get mass. What's the name of the disorder? Where you
epilepsy?
Like curse? No. Close. Where you have tics and you have outbursts.
Oh my gosh, I'm blanking.
Somebody in chat needs to help us here. It's
Tourette's.
Thank you.
My brain.
Tourette's. I know.
Yeah.
Both our brains got there at the same time. That says a lot. So there was a study. It happened during the pandemic. All these teen girls were on TikTok. They were all following the same Tourette's influencer, and they all basically caught Tourette's from watching this influencer too much. And it was masses of girls, and all these girls in the same group. There would be 10 girls in a friend group, and they all followed this TikToker, and they all got Tourette's. They all got the same tics. And I think it's very possible that this will be an example of when AI podcasting becomes more prevalent, it could start invading the human speech patterns, invading the human space. And I think that is the biggest danger for podcasters, because I listened to about 10, 15 minutes of this AI podcast, and then I switched over to a human
podcast.
I switched over to a normal human podcast, and the humans in the podcast started sounding weird. They started sounding like they were the AI. And I know for a fact they're not. So I'm just like, oh yeah, no, it's not that the AI has to be good enough to trick us. It just has to be good enough for us to allow it to become normal.
Yeah, to keep our attention. That's all it is. Doesn't matter.
I'm telling you, it tripped me out, man. You listen to the whole 20 minutes of this AI podcast, then go listen to another podcast of yours. They will sound weird and robotic.
Part of it too, we have lived in such an edit culture, a lot of fast-paced edit, cut kind of video, that any kind of disturbance in a flow of speech and moving on to something else is almost normal for some people.
It's almost normal.
For a generation of people listening to audio stuff, they're used to that snappy thing. So it's just a little different rhythm with the robots, but I'm sure they'll figure it out. But
there you go, Guns. We're no longer safe. We've had it too easy for too long. The robots are coming for us too, Guns.
Oh, great.
That's our Flippy update for the day.
Should we move to China?
Welcome to Chinese news. It comes from China. Ding, ding, China. Ding, ding, China. It's not racist at all, no.
Chinese news! This is DailyMail.co.uk. Headline: China's ex-president Hu Jintao, 79, is erased from the internet after being forcibly removed from seat next to Xi Jinping at Communist Party Congress, as state media claims he was dragged away because he was, quote, not feeling well, but is now, quote, much better. Sounds like they drugged him.
Dragged away for not feeling well.
China's former leader Hu Jintao was forcibly removed from his seat next to President Xi Jinping at a televised Communist Party Congress today before his name appeared to vanish from Chinese social media. Hu Jintao was taken off stage shortly after foreign media came into the Great Hall of the People, Beijing. Search results for him on Weibo, China's version of Twitter, have appeared to be heavily censored since his hasty removal. On late Saturday, state media claimed Hu was, quote-unquote, not feeling well when he was escorted out, but was doing much better after getting some rest. During the incident, the 79-year-old looked slightly disoriented as two assistants came to speak to him and reluctant to move in part of the clip. So, yeah, there's video footage of it. He's it's kind of like the council setup. He's literally sitting to the left of Xi, immediate left. And these two guys wearing masks walk up to him. They kind of pick him up by the arm. And you can tell he's sort of confused and kind of pushing back on, like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? And but
he kind of like tries to appeal to Xi too.
Yeah, and Xi kind of does a nod,
stops by Xi and kind of tries to get his attention, tries to talk to him while he's being dragged away by the goons.
Yeah, kind of interesting. So first off, this guy Hu Jintao, I don't know that we've heard so much about him, but he was the president prior to Xi Jinping. And during his term of office, he reintroduced state control in some sectors of the economy that were relaxed by the previous administration and was conservative with political reforms. This is from Wikipedia, by the way. Along with his colleague, Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao, who presided over nearly a decade of consistent economic growth and developed that cemented China as a major world power. He sought to improve socioeconomic equality domestically through the Scientific Outlook on Development, which aimed to build a quote-unquote harmonious socialist society that was prosperous and free of social conflict. That's what this guy wanted. And Xi's like, No, that's too utopian.
Oh, that's the PR at least. Yeah,
that's the PR.
That was the marketing. Well, Xi just locked in his third term.
That's
he basically, did what everybody knew he was going to do, which was finagle the government into letting him be president for life. I imagine we just have to assume, right, that this guy gave a little bit too much friction to that process, or what?
Something. I mean, he clearly.
This is very public. This is a public statement that, maybe it's just a statement of like the old CCP is gone. It's the new CCP. It's the GGP maybe. And anybody who causes any friction will publicly get lifted up and dragged away.
Yeah. So what's interesting
and disappeared
as well,
from the internet.
The Guardian has the full clip. It's about a minute and a half, or about a minute here. I'm showing it on screen for those of you following along, watching the video. And, you see the whole thing unfold. But what's interesting to me is that as he does his little perk walk, as he's being whisked away, goes through the row of these Chinese officials. And it's just strange. We always talk about the CCP. We know about Xi Jinping, obviously, but we don't really look at the faces of the other council members or whatever they have over there. And so I thought that was interesting as part of a strange way to reveal, the faces behind the Communist Party over there. And just being shown all over the West, because they are trying to sort of build up the war, World War III tensions. So I don't know. It's always a little suspicious when there's guys in military jackets and stuff. So clearly it's the eclectic leaders of China and the Communist Party. So
yeah,
it's a small detail. Small detail
and
observation.
to be publicly removed from a CCP, meeting.
Yeah.
And the footage really speaks the whole story, because it's not like he could have been picked up and kind of ushered away when the camera wasn't on him,
right.
And they could have just, if he really, of course, as if I need to like justify why we know the story is not the real story, but the camera zooms in on him and follows him out the room. It's a tracking cam shot all the way, the long perp walk all the way out the door, not, And then, of course, being erased from the internet, that's a sure sign.
And the whole imagery of walking by all those officials and none of them acknowledging him.
Nobody even looking at him.
Not even looking. They're just, yes, we must remove this thing. It's bizarre. I mean, this is a firsthand look into what communist governance looks like, I guess. I don't know. It's one of those things you visually don't necessarily get all the time from within the.
It's bizarre. Yeah. And it's interesting too, because I guess this guy's been sitting basically at Xi's side.
Yeah. This is a former president. So
literally sits at his side. He sits in the chair next to him in these meetings.
Yeah.
So that's pretty.
Number two.
I do not envy that man.
This is Dr. Evil taking out his number 2.
Yeah.
And replacing him with Mini-Me. We're going to see a Mini-G? Mini-G?
Yeah.
Huh? Anyone?
Mini-G. He wears them on a little baby Bjorn. Oh my God, that'd be so cute.
I know we said we're going to drop this. Let me do it really quick. I can do it fast. I do it fast.
New World Order.
And it has to do with the stepping down of Liz Truss.
When along came Lizzie the lizard.
You're fired. Get out of here.
That is a disgrace.
Oh, I forgot about the DOJ thing. China.
No, that's fine. The DOJ thing is just not very important. The DOJ has arrested a dozen Chinese intelligence officials in the U.S. for trying to, promote corporate espionage, stuff like that. Things are moving. But
and we talked about the Confucius Institute in that context, and I found a document that's literally the Confucius Institute document that has an entire section on Hu Jintao and his influence. The guy who just got whisked away is a whole segment of this document. So
so he's a very influential fella. For him to totally disappear means something bad happens.
Yeah. In the meantime, in the UK, we have Liz Truss resigns. Rishi Sunak wins vote to become UK's next prime minister. And the Washington Journal here, just to read a paragraph, former Chancellor Rishi Sunak, who warned that Liz Truss's economic plans for Britain were a fairy tale, won the contest to succeed her as prime minister on Monday, taking over the world's 6th biggest economy at a time of deep financial and political turbulence.
Right. And it's
won
almost...
the contest sounds really kind of amateur, doesn't it?
Yeah,
he won the contest.
whatever.
I know it's Britain.
You know, and to just kind of summarize it pretty quickly, it's a very interesting. He was actually ran against Lizzie
right.
in their first sort of head to head. She won. She was there for 45 days, tanked the entire economy. Now he comes in. He'll be the first British Asian prime minister and first Hindu prime minister, and is 42 years old, the
42.
youngest prime minister in modern times. His father, I believe, runs I'm just pulling the data or the bullet points from a lot of the people kind of tweeting about it. So this is all alleged. I've not been able to back this up, but this is what people are talking about. His family runs a China-linked World Economic Forum partner company, peddling digital ID and sorry, they capitalized it. That doesn't make sense. Peddling digital ID and social credit scores. Okay, we'll need to confirm all that.
Well, I got some stuff on that. So
good.
So all right. So first off, he was born in Southampton to Punjabi Indian descent who migrated to Britain in the 1960s. He studied at Stanford, and then his wife there, and then he. His wife that he met at Stanford was the daughter of an Indian billionaire businessman who started Infosys.
Oh,
and
good.
Then,
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect, right? And then Sunak and Murty are together, him and his now wife, are the 222nd richest people in Britain, with a combined fortune of £730 million as of 2022. And then after graduating, Sunak worked for Goldman Sachs, and later as a partner at the hedge fund firm, the Children's Investment Fund Management and Theleme Partners. I thought it's a Thelema. And I was like, oh my gosh, Thelema.
I
No, but it's
thought
Theleme.
so too.
It's
Wow,
Theleme. Yeah.
Okay.
So, kind of a interesting fellow to be stepping in. And, the quick short of it is that he's stepping in to try to fix the economic stuff.
Right.
And I find that very interesting because
I'm sure they've got a plan.
I don't think I know they're all
Liz
just
to come in, crash the whole thing, and then get your WEF guy to come fix it for you.
Yeah. So there's a document in 2019 called U.S. Banking Sector, an Investment Opportunity, and then the word "new" pops up all the time in the document. New project coming to the UK. New digital and physical businesses, new regulations and protections for both businesses and whatever, new payments architecture, new technology, new payment method, new economy, which is being driven by technological developments, on and on it goes.
A nice technocratic beast system.
Super technocratic. And it does talk about tracking. What was it? Oh man, I couldn't. There was another spot here where it talks about. Oh, it's ESG, obviously. We know about that. But there was a part that talked about identification. And let me try to find it here. Oh, shoot, I lost it. Almost there. Well, anyway, this document outlines sort of the way into a more... here we go. Security and transparency. One system described as a global digital identity and widely adopted by banks working by analyzing billions of real-time transactions across the UK and many other countries, coupled with additional data including device, geographical, behavioral, and threat intelligence input to identify suspicious transactions and potential criminal activity. It's always security and transparency, under the name of security and transparency, that they're really rolling out all the surveillance. And the big thing with this, Sunak being of Indian descent, if we talk about India and what they have over there as a system, you know about Aadhaar.
Is that the caste system?
No, Aadhaar is the 12-digit unique identity number.
The social credit score system.
Digital biometric ID system. It's the world's largest biometric ID system. World Bank chief economist Paul Romer described Aadhaar as, quote, the most sophisticated ID program in the world, considered a proof of resistance and not a proof of citizenship. Adar does not itself grant any rights to domicile in India. So that's the system they got out there. And there's all kinds of ads and stuff you can look at. The Adhar Act of 2016, and there's articles about how to scan your face with the Adhar app and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, we gave the full breakdown when it came out.
Right.
I remember
So
this,
it was 2016. So it just seems like India was used as a testing bed for all this technology, the biometric identification. And now we have a guy who's ethnically traced back to India. And I looked up, it's about a million people in the UK that are, from India. So it's
it is
small population, but not insignificant.
You know what really bugs me about him? He is, the way he speaks, the way he acts, the way he looks, the way he carries himself. It's like he went to the same, training school or program, like cyber robot programming, whatever, as Justin Trudeau.
Yeah,
he is like
He's
a
Trudeau
spitting
cookie cut Trudeau.
He is a spitting image of a Trudeau type archetype, right? It's same with Trudeau. I believe was the youngest for Canada.
Right.
This guy's the youngest for the UK. It's the World Economic Forum has a very simple and effective plan that they like to.
They're good at implementing plans.
Implementing in public, yeah. They're just doing it. And it takes these kind of annoying, like semi-handsome guys with big ears to kind of execute the plan publicly. It's really interesting. No, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying they've got a lot in common. All right, it's time to take a break.
There you go. Let's see. We need to have a party at canarycry.party. Oh my gosh. Go to canarycryparty.com. Or no. Go to canarycry.party. You'll find a tree of links with everything from where to listen to the show, watch the show, and connect with us on the community.
That's right. There's all sorts of good stuff over there. Go check it out. I'm going to keep it short. Canarycry.party. There's lots of stuff to explore, and you won't regret it. Let's thank some producers, Gons.
Oh, okay. Canary Cry clips. Do that. Text message.
We're keeping it short. We're keeping it short. You used it all up with your Prime Minister talk.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, sorry. I wanted to talk Prime Minister.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
That's right. Okay. We're on the value for value system, baby. No corporate money whatsoever going on this show here. We don't want any corporate interests getting involved. We don't want any brand friendliness. That's not how we roll here, but we are on the value for value system, which means if you get value out of this show, dear listener, any value at all, take a second, think to yourself, how much value has this show brought to my life? Well, you have an opportunity to put some value back in. It is not simply charitable. It is not simply, being a nice guy or nice gal. It is not simply being generous, but it is realizing that there's a new way that independent media can survive without the approval and support of corporations. But it only works if you get value out of the show. You put value back in. You can do it in a few different ways: your time, your talent, or your treasure. That's right. It's not all about money. There's lots of ways to do it. But for those who do want to come and help the show out financially, we do have very specific financial needs in order to keep this as a main commitment and doing it as often and as long as we possibly can. You can go to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. And, we got kind of a short list today, but that's not the worst thing in the world because that means that my voice will not completely disappear as I read the list. Are you ready to read the list, Gons?
I'm ready.
Okay, we're starting out with Sir Moore of Night of the Burning Chariots on a 156 episode streak.
156.
Yes. Comes in with $11.11. Thank you, Sir Moore.
Thank you.
Next, we've got Sir LX Protocol V2 Night of the Berean Protocol, 92 episodes in a row.
Oh, yeah! Man, thank you so much.
Came in with a pocket full of sevens and fees, 777 and fees. Thank you. And a note here says, Happy Monday.
Monday. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm not that happy.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Goes on here. Pray for my wife and I. Be blessed. Okay, let's call the producers right quick.
Producers, assemble!
That's right, producers. Who are they? They are listeners of the show who pray for the show, pray about the show, pray for the producers of the show. And listen up, producers. We're praying for Sir Alex Protocol and his wife.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Yep,
no more details than that. Just pray. Be blessed, says Sir Alex Protocol. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got producer Tammy C. Tammy C came in 2 times over the weekend with a nice round number, which is a good reminder. If you would prefer, we do not disclose the amount, folks. You just make it a nice round number, nice, easy, unexciting number. And that tells us not to read it. But if you don't mind us disclosing the amount, all you got to do is make it a funky number. Some people put 33 cents or 11 cents or something like that, but just something different. And then that tells us to have fun with it. Tammy C also sends a note. It says, Happy Monday.
Gary, what day is it?
Monday. Hope y'all have a great show today. Thank you, Tammy C.
Thank you, Tammy C.
We got Malik W coming in. Nice round number. Thank you very much, Malik.
Thank you, Malik. Good to see you.
And that concludes the list of producers who came in the amount of $7.77 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. We got a few people on who came in under that amount, which we'll thank in a second. I do want to take a second and thank everybody for my happy birthday wishes and my happy birthday art and my happy birthday stuff. I appreciate it very much. It was very sweet.
Happy birthday to me.
Yes. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we've got a few people to thank here, starting with Dame Miss G of the OV and the Deep Rivers.
Thank you, Dame Miss G.
Indeed, came in with 707. We got Sir Casey the Shield Knight on a 222 episode streak.
Oh yeah,
Streakalicious indeed.
Uh-oh. Yeah, someone's got to get on that 223.
Oh, we don't have a 223 jingle yet.
Yeah, we don't. Well, I mean, if it doesn't come in, I'll slap something together. But
yeah, we need it by Wednesday, producers. Yeah. All right, we got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, on a 211 episode streak.
Oh yeah, Streakalicious.
Thank you, Sir Scott.
We got Sir Darren, Knight of the Hungry Pandas, 62 episodes in a row.
Thank you, Sir Darren.
We got Dame Gale, Canary Whisperer, and Lady of X's and O's, 187.
Women rule.
Thank you, Dame Gale.
And last but not least, we got Runk Smosh on 7 episodes in a row.
Does that mean did I play this on fire? I don't remember doing it, but I must have.
Why don't you do it now?
That was for last episode.
There we go. Thank you, Runk Smash. All right. That concludes our list of financial producers. Thank you all so much, Gons. We do have a knighting to do today.
Oh, that's right.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
There is a chance that doing this knighting will completely end my ability to speak for the rest of the episode, but I think that there would be no better way to use the last of what I have than to knight the one and only producer Mark D.
Yeah.
So why don't we do that here? Let me root around. Let me see if I can find my thing here.
There's a lot missing. Hold on.
There's a lot missing.
There's a lot of rubble here. Oh, here we go.
Yep.
I got
Oh, you found it. Okay, here's mine. Okie dokie. We want to call up Mark D. Please step forward to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have a seat for you. Thanks to your generous support in the amount of $1,000 or more, that's overtime or all at once, we are proud to pronounce you Sir Margamark, Knight of the Fam 5. Please join us at the Canary Cry Roundtable, where we have the belt of truthful truthiness, the breastplate of righteousness, the cuts of fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith. Oh no! Oh, I lost it. Hold on. Oh, Mark, it's an incredible achievement that you've done, and my scrolled so far. Here we go. No. Oh my goodness. Okay, you're gonna have to back that up a little bit, Gons.
Circle back.
Yeah, let's circle back. I clicked a button on my browser and it scrolled 10,000 miles away from the thing that I was reading. So let's pick that up again. We're gonna take it from Sir Margamark, Knights of the Fam 5. Please join us at the Canary Cry Roundtable, where we have the belt of truth for truthiness, the breastplate of righteousness, the custom fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the spirit, and of course adorable samurai babies infinitely spelling. Ah! Ride wormicorns. Welcome to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, Sir Margamark, Knight of the Fam 5.
Margamark. Sir Margamark.
It was a rough one, Mark, but we did it. We made it through.
Margamark should clip that and just make it his ringtone.
Woo. That's tough when you can't speak. All right, Sir Margamark, let all in the realm be alerted. It is no longer Mark D. It is now Sir Margamark, Knight of the Fam 5. I want to know what that means. I don't know. I don't get any of the references in this, but I'm sure somebody will be happy to fill me in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Yes, congratulations indeed.
And if you are a knight or a dame and you go to canarycrynewstalk.com/roundtable and you see a mistake or you're not on there, let us know. We need to clean that up a little bit. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And there you go. Thank you to everyone who produces the show to make it happen. We couldn't do without you. And let's get on with the show. But first,
Shut up and take my money.
Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
I'm sorry. My finger just, I don't know what happened.
Itchy trigger finger, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to start out here. Let's see. We're going to keep everything going. Yeah, no need to cut off YouTube, because we're just going to read some mainstream news that certainly would not get us kicked off of any outlets or platforms, but it is about COVID.
Yeah, it is, but it's okay.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
It's Corona time.
COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19,
COVID-19.
COVID-19, COVID-19.
Coronavirus.
Vaccine, number one way.
Science is truth. You do not know what you are talking about.
And we had to circle back. It's all connecting.
It's all circling back.
Yep. Do you want me to do it? I thought you were doing it.
Did you hit the circle back button? Did I just miss it?
No. Well, we did it before
we gotta give Saki her. We gotta give Saki her jingle. We so rarely get to give Saki her jingle.
All right. Well, I gotta go back here now, and I gotta go.
Oh, geez, Louise.
Here we go. Saki, here you go.
Circle back, but I'll have to circle back.
There you go. Now, this will mostly be a read. We don't want to get in trouble for having any opinions on this show, of course. But this is coming from the New York Post. Headline, Judge orders Fauci, Psaki deposed in social media censorship lawsuit. A federal judge has ordered Dr. Anthony Fauci and former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki to be deposed for a lawsuit that claims top officials in the Biden administration colluded with social media companies to censor debate about the COVID pandemic and the Post's expose on the Hunter Biden laptop. You know, the New York Post has they've got some skin in the game here because they actually had their Twitter account pulled for the Hunter Biden laptop thing. Yeah. Fauci, Psaki, and other administration officials, including Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, must testify about their communications with the tech companies as part of the lawsuit brought in May by Republican attorneys General Eric Schmidt of Missouri and Jeff Landry of Louisiana. The attorneys general sought the testimony of Fauci, the chief medical advisor to President Biden, because of his high-profile position and his public comments, rejecting the theory that the virus leaked from a lab in Wuhan, China, as well as his claims about the efficacy of mask wearing.
Before we move on too far here, Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, it popped out at me because we just reported on Rishi Sunak. Yeah. His wife is named Akshata Murthy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any relation, but there
could be. My understanding is that there are, yes, there's like not a whole lot of last names compared to the U.S., where basically all of ours were made up on Ellis Island. But yeah, as I understand it, it's pretty common to
and then a side note
find a connection there.
Yeah, I'm just noticing this now. It's October 24th today, right?
Yes.
24, you get backwards 42, you got the 42-year-old Sunak coming in, and then the year of birth of Hu, the Chinese guy that was dragged away, 1942.
Oh, interesting.
Continue.
Perfection. Quote, plaintiffs urge that his comments on these important issues are relevant to the matter at hand and are further reasons why Dr. Fauci should be deposed. U.S. District Court Judge Terry Doty wrote in his 28-page order issued on Friday. Quote, plaintiffs assert that they should not be required to simply accept Dr. Fauci's self-serving blanket denials that were issued from someone other than himself at face value. The court agrees. Doty, a judge in the Western District of Louisiana, wrote, the judge added that Fauci, quote, no doubt engaged in communications with, quote, high-ranking social media officials, and so far has not had to give any statements under oath. Ooh. Schmidt, who is running to represent Missouri in the U.S. Senate, hailed Doty's decision. Quote, after finding documentation of a collusive relationship between the Biden administration and social media companies to censor free speech, we immediately filed a motion to get those officials under oath, he said in a statement. Quote, it is high time we shine a light on this censorship enterprise and force these officials to come clean to the American people. And this ruling will allow us to do just that. We'll keep pressing for the truth, he said. As for Psaki, Doty said, she admitted publicly in her position as press secretary that the White House had been in touch with social media platforms. Quote, the major platforms have a responsibility related to the health and safety of all Americans to stop amplifying untrustworthy content, disinformation, and misinformation, especially related to COVID-19 vaccinations and elections, Doty wrote, quoting Psaki during a May 2021 White House press conference. The judge also ordered a deposition from Elvis Chan, who manages the cyber branch of the FBI's San Francisco field office, about his communications with Facebook founder, CEO Mark Zuckerberg about censoring stories of the Hunter Biden laptop. That one is a funny one.
New York Post.
Because Mark Zuckerberg admitted this on Joe Rogan. Yeah. He volunteered the information.
Right.
He could have lied, or at least not said the actual words, the FBI told us to hide the story. Right. But, Mark Zuckerberg coming out and straight up saying the words, I'm sure Elvis Chan over there had a moment of, oh, come on, Marky, can't you keep a secret, Zucky? Why you gotta do this to us? Quote, Meta's counsel identified Chan as the FBI agents who communicated with Facebook to suppress that story, Doty wrote. The Post first wrote, that's another interesting aspect to this, which is on Joe Rogan, he just said, we have FBI agents. They come, they talk to us. No. This was actual Elvis Chan, the manager of the cyber branch of the FBI in San Francisco, came and told him to hide the story. And then it ends out here. The Post first wrote about Hunter Biden's suspicious overseas business dealings in October 2020. Reports that were suppressed by Facebook and Twitter because of warnings from the FBI that the information may have been planted by the Russians to discredit Joe Biden before the election. Yes, we do know this. Well, being deposed, it's a step. It's a step. I'll tell you what. I'm not necessarily optimistic that the truth shall come out in these depositions. We've seen Fauci dodge the flaming arrows and darts in all of his congressional hearings, of which I'm not sure if he is under oath or not there. I would suspect he is, but he may not be. So it'll be interesting to see if these guys can do any better than Rand Paul.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It sounds exciting. I guess it's in the right direction, but ultimately, what are we looking at here? What's the end game here? Other than rebuilding it, tearing it down to rebuild it, throwing certain people under the bus. It's time for a new infrastructure. It's the fourth industrial revolution. So it's the great reset. So it's okay to throw some things on the wayside, let people trample all over it, and then everyone will be stoked about the new thing. So
that's why we need AI instead of politicians. We got to have places like the NIH not run by humans who can, be self-serving. We need to put a robot in charge.
Not just self-serving. The AI politician doesn't need to rest. It doesn't need to stop studying and, the whole deal.
Can you imagine an AI that doesn't need to rest wanting to filibuster?
Yeah, and do you remember the Amazon factory story? It made it sound like the robots also slept at night because they were being recharged.
Yes.
As if that is going to stop them from working 24/7.
A strange little piece of propaganda, wasn't it?
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else on the Fauci-Saki? Fauci-Saki bomb?
No, Fauci-Saki bomb. No, we'll see. I don't have a date yet, but it'll be interesting to see what comes of it.
Yeah, I don't know. At least we'll get to see them in under oath. Maybe something will happen. Something will come up, and they'll be distracted and can't do it. Always the case. All right.
Like Trump was very good at getting out of depositions. The death of his wife, a hurricane, all sorts of. Very good reasons for him not to be deposed.
Yeah. All right. Real quickly from Elon here.
You are already sort of a cybernetic symbiote. Neural nets are taking over from regular programming. So you are connected.
Yeah, Silicon Valley is really the blueprint for all these kings, these oligarchs, these billionaire class people trying to build out smart cities and smart systems and advance the future and all that kind of stuff. And Steve Jobs really defines that. Having Steve Jobs talk post-mortem through AI in a podcast feels like him. The LSD guy. It's very indicative of where we're going with in terms of worshiping individuals. But I digress. The headline here from Insider: Elon the everywhere. Elon Musk is worrying government officials with his growing presence in global affairs, report says. He's causing trouble. State and federal governments have poured billions into Elon Musk's science and business ventures and offered the tech CEO lucrative and exclusive government contracts over the past 20 years. But some officials now worry Musk holds too much influence in foreign affairs and are seeking to curb his influence in Washington by funding his business competitors, according to a Washington Post report. Quote, Elon is the everywhere, one White House official told the Post. Quote, he believes he is such a gift to mankind that he doesn't need any guardrails, that he knows best, end quote. Real disdain for this guy.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's jealous. While Musk has publicly feuded with President Joe Biden over the last year, he's also been keeping in touch with more foreign prime ministers and presidents as his disapproval of Washington becomes more public, sources close to Musk told the Post. Musk has publicly met with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Bolsonaro, and other foreign leaders, raising conflict interest questions. That goes into a couple examples here. It says, according to a Bloomberg report published Friday, the Biden administration is looking into ways to investigate Musk's $44 billion deal to purchase Twitter as a result of the multiple foreign entities that have invested in the deal. I didn't know about these entities, but they include Saudi Arabia's Prince Alawid bin Talal, Qatar's Sovereign Wealth Fund, and Binance Holdings, which is the biggest crypto exchange out there, founded by Chinese businessman Chengpeng Zhao, or they call him CZ. He's known as CZ. The Starlink internet network could also receive a national security review after officials became uncomfortable with Musk's plan for peace between Russia and Ukraine, according to unnamed sources who spoke to Bloomberg. I thought that was the sort of the punchline of the article here, because they're talking about, okay, we're going to fund, we got to fund these other, well, later on it talks about funding other, companies, private companies doing things that SpaceX and Starlink are trying to do. But to say that they're going to, Starlink is going to be under review because we're not comfortable with the way Musk is talking peace.
Right.
The Russia and Ukraine. We don't like your peace plan.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, so it's not about peace. It's just about who holds the power and authority. They kind of show their hand here with the
absolutely.
like that.
And Boeing, I'm sorry, did you get to the Boeing part?
No, yeah, I had it highlighted, but it mentions Boeing as...
the number one competitor for SpaceX is...
Boeing Starliner.
Not number one competitor, but the ones that are being given sort of preference over SpaceX is Boeing, which is a long time establishment military industrial complex player. So, it is so obvious that the military industrial complex is unhappy with Elon making sense about Ukraine, that they're trying to get their own guys, their own companies to get back in line to make the profit from the war. Enough of this Elon guy coming in and messing up our whole setup that has worked so well for 80 years.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because they let a guy sort of raise in the ranks and put his hand into a whole bunch of different cookie jars, and now he's got probably an ego that's hard to contain. And then you have just him trying to pull stuff off, without the consent of the other rulers or something. That's all, I'm sure, part of the staging as well. They really just go after Musk, and that's no surprise there. But I thought it was interesting that because the irony of it is that that Elon Musk is a product of the intelligence operation, the military-industrial complex. And so for the military-industrial complex to be, trying to crack the whip on one of its creations, it's interesting. It's almost like, oh, wait a minute, you're a little bit too powerful. We need to curb your power a little bit. Let's start distributing that influence to good old faithful Boeing.
That's part of what makes Elon so complicated.
Yeah.
And his place in this whole thing so complicated too, because we'll tell you over and over, you don't want to trust the guy.
Nah.
Who knows what's going on over there? At best, he's self-serving.
Yeah.
At worst,
he's the Antichrist.
They let him in the club. He's not here for us.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Real quick, let's take a quick break. Break. This is break. Don't just consume the content, but become the content. Become the content. Take a break. We are thanking producers who come in with their God-given talent. Don't just consume the content. provide value, help build the culture behind the community here at Canary Cry News Talk. All we ask is that you make something that's for the show. And today we are going to start with some audio production.
Audio production.
We're going through Brother G's 52 different files that were sent, and we'll go through. Let me know if I've already done it, chat, or Brother G if I do. But here's one called Affinity. Let's go. Come on, Affinity. Play. Oh no, what happened? Wow, a lot of trouble today.
Your affinity for guns is apparent.
There we go. I like that one. Here's Alex Jones on Clinton.
One of the things you've been talking about on your show is your allegation that government officials are aiding in pedophilia, child trafficking, and the grooming of children, right?
Well, you mean like what Jeffrey Epstein did with the Clintons?
Okay. Nice. And then we have attack blimps.
And the future is coming. It's coming, and it's bringing with it armored Kodiak bears, attack blimps, and enough weaponized robots to turn hope into a four-letter word. You want hope? Keep dreaming. You want change? Put out your cup. You want freedom? Vote for me.
Who is that?
I forget the guy's name.
The attack blimps guy.
Yeah. I won't be able to remember his name right off the bat. He's a famous guy, though. Let me see if I can figure it out.
Sounds like one of the reporter dudes, but yeah. There you go. Thank you very much, Brother G. We'll continue to wade through these ISOs. And
I believe that's the guy who played, the head of the newspaper in the Spider-Man. Not the most recent ones, but the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any names. I'm
James something or other.
Completely detached from all that. Okay. Thank you, Brother G.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Jake, James, whoever that guy was. Awesome. We're going to do some art now.
J.K. Simmons, I'm being told.
J.K. Simmons. Is that a joke? Like J.K.? Just kidding.
No, I think it's his name.
Oh, well,
James Simmons. Jonathan Kimball Simmons. That's who it is. Thank you.
Great. We'll get there. We get to the bottom of things eventually around here. All right, we're going to start it off with Dame Allie.
One heartbeat, another one from Allie now. Here it is.
Accompanied by a haiku. FTX president. FTX as in X. Like before. Like an ex-husband, ex-wife. A Dame Epony Blaze haiku. Brett Harrison leaves almost year and a half role as FTX prez. Advisory role for now, aiding transition. What's next? Can't tell you.
So is FTX, is that the company that's taking over all the
Yep. Sam
crypto?
Bankman-Fried. Yep.
Why is this guy leaving then? That's suspicious.
He was leaving like the end of September. And yeah, you missed the last episode where we went over Sam Bankman-Fried proposing a whole, basically crypto regulation the way he envisions it or something. Yeah. And it was pretty bad. It's not good. No. And then BitBoy Crypto countering. He's got his own bill that's fully funded. I think he's going to announce it sometime this week. He's really pumped about it. He says he's representing the people. He's slamming his hand against the desk.
Sure.
Really passionate. And so, my sort of big takeaway was that we're at a point where we are going to see cryptocurrencies in mainstream politics to shape the way, or the role of America in the emergence of the whole crypto Web3 thing.
Right.
And whether we're going to lead or we're going to trail or where we're at in the whole world reset thing. So, a lot to consider.
Well, here he is, Mr. Man, looking diabolical, and he's got his lizard eyeballs there.
It's clear lizardly.
Yes, he is, and he seems to be happy about it. He's sort of got this smirk on his face, which means, they're buying it, they're buying the whole thing. Thank you very much, Dame Allie and Dame Ebony Blaze.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Sir Dove.
One-art piece from Dove.
And Sir Dove, you did see that birthday one, right? That he sent with
I did.
Dame
Thank
Gale's,
you very much. Yes, I loved it.
The whole deal. Yeah.
All the creatures, the forest creatures, and by the way, the emus grew like 1.5 feet while I was gone. It's crazy.
Yeah, give me some of that juice.
I'm pretty sure they're carnivorous too. Now I have a story that I'm still sort of processing. It was a little disturbing.
Yeah. Well.
But they may have gone carnivorous.
Yeah, well, nature, bro. Come on.
Yep, I know.
Sir Dove says, peace. For this week's Bible art work, I did an illustration for Daniel 3:25. Lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. The background fire image was from the morning campfire at the recent Ruspeltia meetup. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins. Dove. P.S. The Bible art book is Psalms Na'at. The Na'at is short for "and that," which is what us dummies from Pittsburgh and the surrounding areas of Appalachia say when we're describing various things. Yes.
I love it.
Nat.
Yeah. Oh, I need to speak with Sir Dove about the second volume and how people can get their hands on the second volume of Psalms Nat. But for now, we'll admire this piece of Bible artwork, which is a sort of picture of close-up of the flames and 4 figures of men walking around in it. And in custom font here from Sir Dove, I see 4 men unbound walking in the midst of the fires. Thank you very much, Sir Dove.
Thank you, Sir Dove. All right, let's do some microfiction.
Microfiction. Microfiction.
It is a rung smash piece.
Rung smash.
Boris the White appears on every screen around Chris as he walks briskly through the hall to the stairs. Prime Citizen Christine, turn you to your dwelling. You have been exposed to the contagion. Misinformation. A counselor will text you shortly.
Yeah, well, Boris the White, this must be an alternative timeline because
this happened fast. I for sure thought Boris was going to get a second crack at it.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not Boris the White. It is Boris the Indian.
Okay. Thank you very much, Runk Smash. All right, let's finish this out, baby.
Okay, where are we at? We have a Nephilim update.
We're waking up first.
Oh, okay. Way to kill my vibe, man.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Nephilim update. Nephilim update. Nephilim update.
Yeah, Nephilim update from New York Times. Bob Dylan on the songs that captivate and define us. In his first collection of writing since Chronicles Volume 1, Dylan explores the lasting allure of great songs. Here are 2 excerpts from his new book. So here's an excerpt from his new book. The title of Bob Dylan's latest book, The Philosophy of Modern Song, is, in a sense, misleading. The collection of brief essays on 65 songs and 1 poem. It is less a rigorous study of craft than a series of rhapsodic observations on what gives great songs their power to fascinate us. Dylan, who was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2016, worked on these for more than a decade, though they flow more like extemporaneous sermons. The chapter on Johnny Taylor's Cheaper to Keeper, for example, is mainly an indictment of the lawyers whose profiteering of heartbreak drives the divorce industry. What is he, a conspiracy theorist? Elsewhere, Dylan writes in oracular riddles, or oracular. His 1-paragraph piece on Long Tall Sally by Little Richard likens Sally to the Nephilim giants of the Old Testament.
Whoa.
And postulates Richard as, quote, a giant of a different kind, who took a diminutive stage name, quote, so as not to scare anybody. Yeah, Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan dropping Nephilim bombs in his book.
That's pretty
about a Little Richard song. I mean, come on. This is like the best Nephilim update we've had in a while.
The word's out, man. If Bob knows, everybody knows.
I don't know if that's true, but Bob knows. He can he's got to write a book about it like this. He can't be doing an interview, a sit down interview, or put it in a song, because nobody really knows what he's saying. You know, what he's singing.
Yeah. But, it's pretty hard to understand. That is pretty
in print. He can really make it stand out.
Yeah. You know, I've been seeing bigger and bigger names and like bigger and bigger media properties starting to sort of involve the Nephilim into just pretty much regular storytelling at this point.
Yeah, I mean, almost, not every, but a lot of video games have it. Obviously, the show Lucifer spearheaded the whole topic. So
right.
Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, we're at a point where, I mean, man, when we started, we always say this, but this is one topic, the Nephilim, that when we started, people were like, what are you, like even Christians were like, what in the world are you talking about? Now you got, you know, Mike Heiser and his documentary on the Bible. What was it? The big YouTube channel that does Bible stuff. The Unseen Realm documentary came out a few weeks ago. So, you know, the idea is definitely getting out there to Christians. And so that's good. But yeah, it's just crazy. And now it's just Little Richard song talked about by Bob Dylan making Nephilim references in his books that gets featured on the New York Times.
Yeah.
Out of all the things they could have picked, they're like, this one where he talks about the Nephilim. So anyway, there you go. There's your Nephilim update for today.
I love it. I love those little guys.
Those little Nephilim updates.
Little Nephilim
Yeah.
updates. Loves those guys. All right. Well, I think that's it for today, right? We're late show. Thank you, everybody. We will try. I'm going to rest my voice up for the next 2 days. I will get nice and healthy, and we will do a much better job on being on time on Wednesday. So make sure to tune in again on Wednesday. That's when we'll be back. I do want to thank one more time our executive producer, Rab, for making it happen. Congratulations, of course, to our new member of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. That is Sir Marga Mark, Knight of the Fam 5. And, of course, thank you to all of our producers. All of our producers, they come in with their time, their talent, or their treasure. We thanked quite a few producers today, but we got a couple more to thank, starting with our Clippies.
Flippy. Flippy on those videos. Thanks.
That's right. Thank you, Emsworth and Faye Livern, for making the Canary Cry Clips channel happen. We've been having a bumpy ride over there recently with some suspensions and things. But if you can, go subscribe to Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey to make sure you can get your segmented out, clipped out versions of the show, shareable, careable, bite-sized pieces. Thank you very much, Emsworth and Faye Livern.
Thank you.
And thank you to our timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Indeed, Gons. Who did we get to help us out with the timestamps? Now, the timestamps are very important to a lot of our back-end stuff. A lot of our resources would not be possible without the timestamps. So we are very appreciative of those timestampers. Yep. Episode 550, I believe, was from Jackie Yu.
Yep, it was Jackie Yu. And I thought I saw Jade Bouncerson get in there for a couple things too. So thank you very much.
Get our hands on it. Yeah. Thank you very much to our timestampers, Jackie Yu, Jade Bouncerson. Thank you to our social media gal.
The social media consultant.
Thanks so much.
Social media, follow us.
That's right. Thank you to Dame Miss G of the OV and the Deep Rivers, making sure our art can get up on the internet, the social medias. Okay, I don't have the strength to do meetups and things. Can we skip these?
Yeah. That's fine. We got to get out of here anyway.
Go to canarycrymeetups.com. Get on those meetups, folks. It's very important. And, of course, leave us ratings and reviews on Apple Podcasts. Thank you to JM for the links. And other than that, folks, just share the show. Share it with your friends, your family, your friends' family, your dog's family's friends. And let them know, hey, have you ever wanted to listen to 2.5 hours of a guy who could barely try to talk, and then do a very bad job at it?
Many reasons to cut this episode a little shorter than what we're normally used to, but that's okay. We got this stuff.
If you want to hear a sick guy read the news, go listen to Canary Cry News Talk. It's a great show. But other than that, if you need any more instructions, we do call it rattling cages. And all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted. I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. All right, Gons, any last words?
Last words. Have a good evening, everybody. Have a great 25th of October.
Yeah,
and if you're in the 25th of October, then have a great 26th.
Wow. This is for good. Maybe one of your best, Gons.
Can I be a motivational speaker?
Yeah, you can. You
tell
are.
Them what's happening next.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow happens next.
It'll be another day. It'll be similar to this day, but it'll be different. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people too.
This is the way.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
I love the Great Reset.
Armageddon's on the way. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Feed him more. Feed him more.
We're all gonna die.
Feed him more.
This is the way.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I've ordered more pills than anyone in the world.
Circle back, but I'll have to circle back. Circle back, but I'll have to circle back. Circle back, but I'll have to circle back. I'm happy to circle back. I'll have to just circle back with you. We can circle back on that one. Circle back with you.
It's an interesting
Goodbye,
question.
everybody. That's the end. And everyone says, "Oh, that was fun."
Bye. I'm out of here. Bye.
CanaryCryRadio.com/support